Yo, it's time to subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. What are you doing?
Subscribe to Pay to Be Famous.
Subscribe to Paid to Be Famous. Like the video, come on.
Hell
you know
yeah.
the drill.
Button.
And slap that like button.
Woo! Hey,
The Breakneck auto rifle is back in Destiny 2 Season of the Wish. You can now acquire it from the Gambit playlist, and you can actually use engrams to focus it specifically. The only downside to that is that there are way too many perks on this thing. There are like 12 perks in each column to choose from. So even though you can focus it, it's still going to be pretty tough to get that 5 out of 5 roll. When this auto rifle first came out, you could only get one roll, and that was Rampage paired with Onslaught, which, in case you didn't know, Onslaught was specific to this weapon only when it first came out. States that Final Blows increases the rate of fire, which is an amazing perk, but at the time auto rifles weren't really meta in PvE, so by the time this weapon got sunset, we never did get to see its true potential. But now that it's back, there have been some buffs to auto rifle in PvE which make them much more useful, and Onslaught is back in the perk pool. And once again, you can roll Onslaught on this weapon along with a bunch of other options that you couldn't get before. And pretty much everybody is going for Onslaught on this weapon, but I'm here to tell you that there is another perk, and pretty much everybody is going to say that Onslaught is the perk to go for on this weapon, and I would agree. Maybe in PvP specifically, Onslaught is a monster of a perk, but there is another option that is much more useful, especially when it comes to PvE, specifically when I'm talking about endgame content like Master Lost Sectors, Grandmaster Nightfalls, raids. But first off, let's take a look at all the perks that you can roll on this. In the first column, we've got Under Pressure, improves stability and accuracy as the magazine gets lower. This is going to be a good perk for PvP. Next up, you've got Eye of the Storm. This weapon becomes more accurate and boosts handling as your health gets lower. One of the best perks for PvP in my opinion. Going to grant you up to 30 handling as well as accuracy bonuses once your health gets lower. Then we have a newer perk here called Enlightened Action. Dealing damage improves reload speed and handling. Then we have another PvP focused perk called Encore. Final Blows grant a stacking stability, range, and accuracy bonus to this weapon. Precision Final Blows grant more stacks. More stability, range, and accuracy is definitely needed in the Crucible, so this is a good option for PvP. Then we have a PvE perk here called Feeding Frenzy. Each rapid kill with this weapon progressively increases reload speed for a short time. Then we've got Pugilist. Final Blows with this weapon generate melee energy. Dealing melee damage briefly improves this weapon's handling. So if you are a Titan or you got a melee build, this is good for your auto rifle. Then we've got another PvE perk called Shoot to Loot. Shooting an Orb of Power picks it up. Shooting an ammo brick picks it up and automatically reloads all of your equipped weapons from reserves. Then you've got Heating Up. Final Blows with this weapon increase accuracy and stability while improving vertical recoil. Another great perk for PvP. And you got one of my favorite perks here, Keep Away. Increase reload range and accuracy when no targets are in close proximity. Then you got Hipfire Grip. I don't really care for this trait. It states that increases accuracy, stability, and precision hit targeting when firing from the hip, but I tend to aim down sights all the time, so it's not really that useful for me. Then you've got a top tier PvP perk, Dynamic Sway Reduction, improves accuracy and stability while continuously holding down the trigger. Since this is an auto rifle, you're going to be doing that all the time. And you got another PvE perk right here, Subsistence. Defeating targets partially reloads the magazine from reserves. In this column for PvP, I would definitely say go with Eye of the Storm, Encore, Heating Up, or Keep Away, and also Dynamic Sway Reduction. Pretty much all these perks have something to do with increasing range and accuracy, which is never a bad thing in the Crucible. And for PvE, I would say go with Subsistence, Feeding Frenzy to help with your reloads, and also Shoot to Loot is very good. In the last column, we got Onslaught. Final Blows with this weapon increase its rate of fire. Got a new perk called Deconstruct. Dealing sustained damage grants bonus damage against vehicles and constructs and partially refills the magazine. Damage with primary ammo or against constructs provides an additional progress. Constructs includes barricades, turrets, stasis crystals, and other objects created on the field. I don't really find this perk too useful, so it's going to be a pass on this one for me. And we've got another new perk called Attrition Orbs. Dealing sustained damage creates an orb of power. I do believe there is a cooldown in between every time you create an orb, so you're not going to be spawning a crazy amount of orbs with this perk, so I wouldn't rely on it solely just for that. And we've got Kinetic Tremors. Sustained kinetic damage to a target emits a shockwave that damages any nearby targets. An S tier perk for PvE. And we've got Demolitionist. Kills with this weapon generate grenade energy Activating your grenade ability reloads this weapon from reserves. Very nice perk to have for all those grenade builds. You've got Offhand Strike. Final blows grant additional weapon range, stability, and accuracy when firing from the hip for a short duration. If you guys like firing from the hip, then I would definitely consider pairing this with hip fire grip. Kind of double down on that hip fire if that's something that you're into. I'm not really, but hey, whatever floats your boat. Then we've got Tap the Trigger, grants a short period of increased stability, accuracy on the initial trigger pull. Great perk for PvP, especially when you pair it with dynamic sway reduction. Tap the Trigger is going to give you more accuracy as soon as you start shooting, and dynamic sway is going to give you more accuracy at the tail end of your shooting. Then we've got Osmosis. Using your grenade ability changes this weapon's damage type to match your subclass until you stow it. So if you're trying to do like a lost sector where you need to get all the elements going, this could be useful for you. And we've got a PvP perk called Moving Target, increases the movement speed and target acquisition when moving while aiming down sights. Never a bad option in the Crucible. Then we have Adagio. After defeating a target, this weapon fires, charges, or draws more slowly and deals increased damage for a brief time. This is actually going to give you a 30% increase to damage, and it's going to add 10 to your range. So this is a very good perk for the Crucible. And last but not least, we have Harmony. Final blows with other weapons improve this weapon's damage and performance for a short duration. It's going to give you a 20% damage increase and add 15 to your handling for 7 seconds. For PvP, I would say the go-to perk in this one is Onslaught. It's really going to ramp up your damage output and help you chain kills. And then also Adagio and Moving Target are good options, as well with Tap the Trigger to help you increase your accuracy. And when it comes to PvE, the only perk that I'm interested in is Kinetic Tremors. And the reason for that is because if you pair Kinetic Tremors with Subsistence, the shockwave that can kill other combatants will actually proc Subsistence and reload your weapon. And seeing as how there is Overload Auto Rifle this season, auto rifles are going to be very useful in those Grandmasters and Legend and Master Lost sectors. And something important to note is that the shockwave from Kinetic Tremors can actually re-stun Overload champions. As you can see right here against this barrier champion, I get Kinetic Tremors to proc, and it kills the shank next to them and actually reloads my weapon, which is really nice. And then you can actually take down Overload champions using nothing but the auto rifle, because like I said, the Kinetic Tremor shockwave will re-stun the Overload, so you don't need to keep switching back and forth between your power weapon and this auto rifle. You can just keep holding down the trigger on that auto rifle. Kinetic Tremors is a very, very strong perk. The footage that you're seeing in the background is a Master Lost sector, and I am only 1817, and the Master Lost sector is 1840 light level, so I'm pretty underleveled. But since I got Kinetic Tremors on this bad boy, I'm having no problem. So for the god roll for PvP, I would say go with Hammer Forged, Ricochet Rounds, and either Eye of the Storm and Moving Target, or you can go Dynamic Sway, Tap the Trigger. All these perks are going to help you with your accuracy, but if you want to stack that damage and get multi-kills, I would definitely say go with Onslaught or Adagio. And for the PvE god roll, I would say go with Hammer Forged and a magazine perk that increases your ammo, something like Appended or Extended Mag to increase your ammunition. Then like I just went over, I would say go for Subsistence and Kinetic Tremors. That would be the best roll in my opinion for the end game content. But Guardians, those are just my opinions. Let me know your thoughts on this auto rifle. What roll are you going to go for? What roll are you chasing in Gambit? Let me know down in the comments. If you guys are new here and found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.